Our project was a cat-friendly campus, which was a TNR education at Stetson University. I'm Tiffany Clow.
I'm Kay Mauser.
Oral Chem.
During our research, we interviewed West Volusia Friends of Felines. We interviewed Misty Muniz and Marilyn Wenman, and they told us that the feral cat population in DeLand is rather high, and a good contributor to that is the population on Stetson University's campus. Stetson has multiple colonies in many different places on campus. We also interviewed Hannah Gerland, who said it is the responsibility of Stetson University to take care of these communities.
Our original plan was to both do an educational webinar and to actually perform TNR on campus. We had really hoped that we were going to be able to do TNR, but unfortunately we just weren't able to. We reached out to many different people, trying to get in contact with them to get permission to trap on campus. And every person that we actually got in contact with would just give us a new name that we were supposed to contact. And eventually that person just didn't get back to us, which was very frustrating because we were really looking forward to like actually trapping and getting these cats, fixed and a better quality of life and helping actually lower the cat population on Stetson's campus, because it's not too good. There are a lot of cats on this campus that need to be trapped and neutered and released. We partnered with West Volusia Friends of Felines, which is a nonprofit organization that traps and releases cats in this area. And we also partnered with Hannah Gerland, who is a Stetson alumni and has much experience trapping, neutering, and releasing cats. We started out with just meeting with West Volusia Friends of Felines to kind of get like an idea of what they wanted us to do, what they needed, because we knew that we were wanting to do TNR. We tried contacting Stetson for permission, didn't really work that well. And we've hosted an educational webinar. The webinar went very well, super smoothly. We had a nice amount of attendees, and it felt like we were really able to present and like inform the public about what a problem this is and like how they can help to fix it. Our roles as members, Coral was in charge of research, webinar coordination, and design, as well as advertising everything and communicating with the different people. And she did a lovely job of it. Thank you, Coral. I was originally in charge of head of TNR. I was going to like be the one to go out on campus and actually like trap the cats and like try and bring them to the vet if I could, and coordinate all of those sorts of things. However, because we were unable to actually trap on campus due to Stetson's lack of communication and just not in general wanting us to trap on campus, my goals shifted to coordinating a meeting with West Volusia Friends of Felines member Marilyn Wenman and recording an educational video on like how trapping equipment works, as well as helping out with the presentation. Tiffany, her original job was to also assist with TNR and education. She ended up just mostly assisting with the education and like the presenting part of it. And all members presented in the educational webinar.
So once we had finished the preparations for our webinar, which included making sure the event was approved on Stetson's calendar, making it a cultural credit event to incentivize more students to attend, acquiring a Zoom license, and designing the presentation we were going to give, the final step in our presentation was to actually give the educational webinar. So almost everyone who registered for the webinar actually attended, and we had about 30 attendees, both from Stetson and from the surrounding DeLand community. During our webinar, we talked about the extent of the feral cat problem. We talked about its effects on both humans and in the environment, and why this is an issue that needs to be solved. We also talked about possible solutions that we had found in our research, but why they had downfalls and would eventually not be effective. And then we talked about the solution that we believe would be the most effective, beneficial, and humane, which is TNR, trap, neuter, release programs. We also educated our guests on how they could get involved with TNR initiatives in their own communities. And we gave an example of how other colleges with a similar problem on their campus are implementing TNR programs to reduce their feral cat populations. For example, Embry-Riddle University has a very successful TNR program. So we gave that as an example of what this could look like at Stetson. Finally, we had a guest speaker, Hannah Gerland, who is a Stetson alumni and is now a veterinary technician. And she talked about her experience with TNR, specifically as it pertains to Stetson. And we also had a video of an equipment demonstration, which was filmed by Kay, and it was of Marilyn Wenman giving a demonstration of the types of TNR traps, and just tips and tricks that they use at their organization. And overall, the attendees received our webinar very well. We got a lot of compliments and people saying that they didn't even realize this was an issue until they attended our event, and that they were really interested in getting involved and helping to mitigate this problem. So this was not a normal honors praxis project in the sense that it was very focused specifically on Stetson's campus rather than DeLand. However, that is because the community expressed to us that in this case, Stetson is the problem, in the sense that it is one of the only places where they are not able to perform TNR. So it's directly affecting the rest of DeLand in that way. So although we weren't able to actually accomplish doing physical TNR on campus within the parameters of our project deadline, we are going to continue pursuing this by enlisting the help of Stetson University's Student Government Association to garner more student support and get the attention of Stetson's administration so that it will be possible for students to perform TNR on Stetson's campus. We also think that this has a lot of potential for a future student organization. Following the example of Embry-Riddle, it could have huge impact if students were to collaborate and have a student-run TNR program on campus. And because Stetson is a pet-friendly campus, and just based on the number of attendees that we had at our webinar who were so interested in this topic, we think that there would be a lot of support if we have the right amount of public education about this issue. So over the course of our project, we had to learn about communication challenges because Stetson's administration was not responsive to us when we asked permission to do TNR. We also learned that there are a lot of politics involved with changing a policy, especially at a big institution like Stetson. There's going to be people with different viewpoints, and so you need to talk to people from a variety of perspectives in order to understand how you can best collaborate and get something accomplished. And then finally, we had to learn about adapting your goals in a project like this because our original goal shifted from being both TNR and education to just being education, but it was still very effective in the sense that it spread our message and it spread awareness of this issue. Thank you for your time in attending our presentation.